Hello, and welcome to another episode of Good Fat Life. And today, I'm my guest, and I kind of, well, it scares me a little bit. To be honest, it is good for me, and because it pushes that boundary a little bit. And the truth is there's so many amazing things going on that I would just like to kind of take a moment and just like pause a little and catch up. So first off, we have another our newest issue of goodfatlife.com. The April, May, and June second quarter issue is out. And the feedback I'm getting is that it's our best issue ever. Even my dad sent me a text and said, it's your best issue ever. And you're getting good at this. So it was kind of cute. Which brings me to the next topic. It's that whole idea of getting good at this. We started in 2018. So what is that? 6 years now? 5, 6? I don't even 8? No. The years just go by and it gets easier. It does get easier. And we did a workshop yesterday and it was amazing. And at the end of it, we're kind of looking at ourselves, the Good Fat Life crew, and going, well, that was easy. And it was that moment where you just realize that, yeah, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And at first it's kind of like something must be wrong because this is so much easier than it used to be. But the truth is we're just getting better at it. We understand what we're doing more. And that's kind of how it works, isn't it? With everything. We start where we are. So start where you are. And the people in the workshop yesterday, so many of the stories were people had just had an idea, and then one thing led to the next, and they just stepped into it. And the stories were truly phenomenal about what's being created, like right here in Brighton, right here in the community around us. That said, one of our guest yesterday was Erin Hamilton, and her story is so inspiring. And it literally, like, she saw a billboard and had to pull over to learn more about mushrooms. And so in our last issue, we had a mushroom class yesterday, mushroom class on growing them and cooking them. And it's all fascinating. And mushrooms are kind of like, they've got a mystique around them because they're a fungi. And if you eat the wrong ones, it can kill you. And if you eat the others, it can send you on wild trips. And so we thought, that could make a really interesting suspense novel, like Who Done It or Which Mushroom Did You Get? But the one thing I want to say is in our last issue of Good Fat Life, we had a whole spread around mushrooms, mindful cultivation on mushrooms, and there'll be a lot more coming about mushrooms because there's so much to know about them. And the work that Erin's doing literally around the country is having a huge impact and is fascinating. And everybody wants to know more. So that was really cool. And then I do want to go through our newest issue a little bit because it's just chock full of really amazing things. And those of you who follow us know that we were in Morocco a couple weeks ago, and it's a long story and we'll tell that at some point. But we had a 4-hour visit with a new naturopath who's incredibly knowledgeable about our bodies and our health and how all of our systems work, and herbs and tinctures and oils and all things natural to help our bodies heal. But in my evaluation, he said I was many years younger than my actual chronological age, which of course you're kind of like, oh, you say that to all the girls. And no, he said that's not true. But when I thought about it, I do feel good. I feel vibrant and vital, but I know that so much of it is because of doing the practices of the things in the magazine. I learn so much every day from our community of things to do that help you stay younger and active and vital. I do want to just go through a couple of things here. We have articles around, we really do work spent a lot of time curating our pictures, and Jen Knutson, our graphic designer, she is brilliant at it. So one of our articles, 30,000 Feet, Let's Look Down by Lori Burns, who's our psychotherapist, I believe, is her title. Sorry, Lori, if I got it wrong. But she talks about, really what happens to our bodies when we surround ourselves with negative thoughts and negative people and negativity and the news and what it really does to our bodies. And so that's an area where we get to choose again. And Lori talks about the impact of making a different choice, choosing the positive. And then AJ talks about financial clarity and just little things that you can do, because financial freedom really gives us the ability to do what we want. So you're making decisions not on what can I afford, but you're making decisions on what's important to me and how you want to set up your life so you can choose and can choose. I've seen people who make $20 an hour who have a life that is very free and they do exactly what they want, but they're just really smart about the decisions that they make. That said, and here's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart right now. It's the cortisol factor and how balancing stress hormones can be a breakthrough for weight loss. So for those of you who know me or who get the magazine, I've kind of drawn a line in the sand and said, hey, I'm losing 25 pounds this year. I've had this conversation with myself since I remember I used to say 125 by 45, age 45. That was literally decades ago. And it's just time for a different conversation. That said, I'm working with my functional nutritionist, Carolyn LaPlan, who's amazing. And I also signed up for Weight Watchers. I like their structure. It was $11 a month for a year. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm doing it with a couple of friends. It's not because we think we need to do this for somebody else. It's really because we just want to do it because we want a different conversation. When it's time for me to check out of this life, I don't want to have one single regret. And that would be one, that I didn't do what my body needed me to do to find my perfect weight and physical self, whatever that looks like. So 25 might not be the right number, but it's where we're starting. And I don't know about you, but I love our self pauses. Our self pauses, they make us pause, stop and think. And I get feedback from people all the time. It's like, yeah, I took that one little suggestion and it really changed something in my life. So that is that. Our books, always wonderful books. We never put a book out here that we haven't bought and read. And generally, every book that we receive or that we put in our reading room, it has been referred to us because it was a book that had been referred to them and they loved it and want to share it. Then we have a great article on breathing. If you're like me, I hate anything that talks about breathing. I always have. Breathing can be hard work. And I've come to appreciate and love and deeply respect the breath. Our breath literally is our life. It's with us 24/7. And when you can't breathe, I learned through COVID, through some of my friends who really got sick, weren't sure that they were going to make it. The ability to just take a breath is really a gift. It's an amazing gift. And when I smacked my ribs this winter, breathing was a challenge. And it's those little things. When you can't breathe or when your nose is really plugged and you can't take a deep breath, it's just a reminder of really that gift of breath is. I love this picture, 85-year-old Dr. Adam Rushford, who is one of my favorite people on the planet because he talks about movement, and without moving and moving our spines and being in alignment, there again, we aren't going to be our vibrant selves. And Dr. Adams he would never preach at us or tell us what to do, but he will always encourage and model those things, those little, I call them movement snacks that we can do to make our day with more movement, with joy, more movement with joy. I try and I do now set my timer so that I get up and actually move 5 minutes in every hour. And where it used to be like moving towards a refrigerator, I don't know if you're like me, like those of us who have our home offices, it's easy to walk to the pantry or walk to the refrigerator. But now I grab my weights and I'll do 5 minutes of weightlifting or squats or jumping jacks or just something. And it makes such a huge difference. One of the things I absolutely have fallen in love with is Qigong. And we've talked about it a little bit. It is one of my colleagues, Jill Fisher, who is out of Vancouver, BC. She does the challenges and she's very skilled, quite expert in it. And for those of who don't know, Tai Chi is a subset of Qigong. Qigong is about moving energy. She does a 30-minute class at 9 a.m. Pacific time, so I take it at noon, 7 days a week. And if you can't make it, it's filmed, and so you can do it whenever you can. And I have to say, it has made a huge difference in just how I feel every day. It just ramps up my energy and the way that you move, which is so gentle. It feels like, honestly, it feels like taking a slow walk in some ways. It's magic, the strength that I find my body building. And my massage therapist notices it too. She goes, man, this is really making a difference. So another thing that we've added is Liesel, Elsie. I love the name Liesel. I wanted to name my daughter Liesel, but when she popped out, she was not a Liesel. She was a Kylie, which is all good. But it's just funny how that works. But she talks about pelvic health. And honestly, it was who knew? Who knew that? But it makes sense, is our pelvic floor is the what holds us up. And there's so much going on there that and we're not educated about it. And there's just so much to learn. And Dr. Liesel does an amazing job of it. And then, of course, we have Expand and Awaken, for cooking for vitality, renewal, and the season ahead. And Dr. Lucas Root does a brilliant job of bringing food back to our core, to our soul, because food is really such a powerful thing in our lives. And every time I read what Dr. Lucas's words, I just kind of like almost get teary, because of the magic of food, of growing our food, where our food comes from, appreciating and respecting the people who grow our food, our ancestors who figured out how to plant food, grow it, and all goes with that, and the recipes. And so many of these are centuries old. Again, it just brings me almost to tears sometimes with the power and the magnificence of this simple thing that we have at our disposal every day, right? We have our food. We have our ability to create food and eat food and nurture ourselves and have community around food. So, and as always, he has some amazing recipes, and they're spring recipes because it's that time of year. And then Sherri's favorites, flowers. I am obsessed with fibers and flowers. And so we have flowers in our life with Art in Bloom. So you can grow them yourself, and you can also buy them. You can buy them already grown. So there's lots of ways to bring more flowers in your life. And my husband, bless his soul, has brought me a beautiful bouquet of flowers every week for probably the last 20 weeks. And he never misses, and it just makes my heart sing. Also, and if flowers aren't your thing, there's pickles. You can have a pickle bouquet. That's one of the things that my granddaughter's going to be getting, because she is a pickle fanatic. But shh, don't let her know. We have an article on embracing your mistakes, and it was so timely. We had a kind of a big mistake in the last couple of weeks, and it wasn't the end of the world kind of a mistake, but it was still a mistake. And we were also grateful that we could go back to our article and get some peace around. That just shows that we're learning and that we're growing, and it's just part of our beautiful journey together. So, on that happy note, I just want to say thank you for listening. Check out again goodfatlife.com. We've got lots of things going on for the spring and the summer. And like I said, including workshops. And we will be doing some more mini workshops just so we can fit them in. There's so many amazing people doing amazing things. And I don't want to wait another 6 months before we get people back together to do that. So just watch what's going on. We've got some things in May and June, all throughout the summer, and then already into the fall. So thank you for being here. And I encourage you to, make self-care, as I say in my pub notes, switch your self-care from everything else first approach to my self-care has to come first. Make that switch, put it on your calendar, and then go and do everything else. So on that happy note, go out and live your good fat